good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here at Sky Magazine for the coverage of this women's match, Germany versus Australia. Now we're expecting a big game here. You're listening to the voices of Tom Stiles and Liam Grant, and I've got Liam right next to me at the top of the stands. We're looking forward to a good game here, Liam.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really close matchup. We saw the German women play yesterday where they're pretty dominant over New Zealand team, but this Australia team is here to battle. They had two strong wins yesterday, beating the GB women's on Universe Point, and also comfortably beating the Swedish women. So they're a really strong team, and it's going to be a great battle.
Yeah, we've heard exciting things about the Australians coming into the game, and we'll cover a little bit more of that during this one. But yesterday, Germany impressing players to watch down there. Lisa Barth in the 15 shirt and Anna Gerner with the pink headband and the 17 on her back. We're definitely making a lot of the play yesterday.
Yeah, we also have the Spanut sisters, Svenja and Inga, who were dominant as well.
And number 21, Helen Gross-Brackmann, tall player in the 21 shirt. You'll see a lot of her as well. So Germany impressing yesterday. We wait to see what they can bring against this Australian side. One of the nice things about Worlds, especially with the under-23s, is these teams really have no experience of how they're going to play against each other. We don't have a lot of history between Germany and Australia. So this is untried and untested territory from all of us, and we do hope wherever you are in the world, if you're in Germany or Australia, please do get in touch with her. And it's Gerner with the disc for Germany, picking up from the back straight away, heavily strapping on her leg, makes a forward pass and gets the disc back. And Australia setting into a very tight cup. But Germany keep the disc moving now. Mondell. And a mistake straight away from Jesper. Disc goes to ground.
Great stuff there from Hannah Monty on the force. Hannah also playing for the Australian Quidditch team. So representing a country for two sports now.
And Gibbs, the 26 shirt. Outstretched reach for Palmer. Palmer mistake on the disc, and it's turned back over. Gerner comes to pick up quickly. Is she going to send it? She tries, but good defense from Australia, blocking that fast pass. Mondell forward to Bruckhardt. Back to Gerner. Gerner swinging the German handling line, trying to keep this disc moving under the pressure from the Aussie Cup. Gerner back to Mondell again. Sorry, it's Thyssen on the disc, number 4. Disc over the top. And a mistake. It's been wet out here. The ground is wet. And mistakes coming from Germany as the big disc goes up. It's going to be caught just in front of the end zone. It's Monty on the disc. Fakes. Boshes it in, and it's just dropped by Gibbs. Emily Gibbs seeing that disc a little bit late, perhaps a tiny bit behind her, and the Australian Cup come down to set up again. A nervy first point from both teams here. Scuba across the pitch, it slips again. This wet disc is causing all sorts of problems. Jabs into the end zone for Australia, and they score that one. So many turnovers so early on in the game. The receiving was from Dignam in the end for Aussies. They get the first point of the game. Now that's a turn. But we didn't really have a chance to see how these two teams are going to play properly, because there was just so many mistakes with the slipping of the disc, Liam.
Yeah, just taking our time to get used to that slippy disc. We saw the Australian team come out in a little 4-man cup, and I thought it was a good look. Maybe they'll try something different here. And we know a lot of the actual Australian women played 2 years ago in Toronto, so they have a lot of experience coming into this. Almost half the squad were on that team, so these girls know each other and they're used to this international experience.
Weather-wise this morning, it's actually quite bright and still now, but 15 minutes ago, while both these teams were warming up, it was a torrential downpour, so the pitch is going to be very wet. The players are all soaking. Every single one of them, the shirts and the shorts, are completely soaked through because they've been out here practicing and warming up in pretty torrential conditions, huddling underneath the tents in the last 2 or 3 minutes before the game, because the rain has just cleared, just as myself and Liam arrived at the top of the stands. Thank you very much, weather, for sorting that one out for us. And it looks set to be clear for the rest of this game. So maybe the pitch and the discs will start to dry out. We'll see some of these mistakes clear up. But right now it's slippery and hesitant catch from Thyssen there. Hands off to Gerner straight away. And again, this cut from Australia coming to try and stop any forward movement. Konzelman back to Gerner. Thyssen and across the pitch to Rule. Rule. Thyssen, Gerner. Waiting for the mark to arrive. Thyssen. 19 shirt on the far side is Burkhardt. Thyssen again. Gerner available on the dump, but she's going to have to think fast here because the Australians have got them exactly where they want them, down that line. But a nice disc straight down the line, moving it quickly. And Germany advancing. They're making lots of use of the space. The cup was so tight, and that's meant the rest of the pitch has opened up. Gerner's with it now. She's got options deep, but the Aussies have moved quickly to try and compress that space again. Resets back to Thyssen. Thyssen back to Gerner. Gerner's 1-2 with Thyssen. 4 shirt and 17 working nicely as a pair there. Gerner's not available anymore. She's been blocked out by the D, but around the top, it's a nice disc over to Burkhardt. Burkhardt exchanges discs with Konzelman. Gerner, Thyssen again. Keeping this fluid, but a terrible disc from Thyssen. Just puts it behind Gerner as she was running through and crashing that cup. Turnover Australia, and that pressure counting eventually. They created so much work for the Germans to keep the disc moving. And Aussies advance now, the number 3 shirt of Brereton.
Maybe go for Rebecca on that one, Tom.
Stick with the first names where the last name is hard.
Yeah, looks like a really strong cutter for Australians. Rebecca also pulling for them as well.
Brereton with the disc. Looking for options. The cuts are drying up a little bit, but she's still managed to find a great disc out. And the Gerner there striking through with outstretched hands to get that turnover. Now she's got Thyssen downfield, and she finds her. Options deep if she goes for it, but she's not. She's going to keep on hold of that disc. Gerner's available for the dump, but she's going to struggle a little bit here. Out comes the 20 shirt of Konzelman again, catching on the sideline there, making good cuts, keeping the disc moving. Germany having to work ever so hard here to keep possession and keep the disc moving, and it's 13 out on the far side here. Jasper back to Gerner. Thyssen being blocked carefully. Good forcing by the Australians, stopping that disc going on the outstretched arm of the Australian 24 shirt, almost getting to that disc, but it manages to make its way safely to Thyssen. She's got it once more. No downfield options really, but safely manages to get it to Frosch. Frosch to Gerner. Gerner outstretched, goes to ground. Still alive, a yard short of the end zone. Frosch going for the return disc, and she manages to make that cut. And a call on the play, a pick on the play.
Silky smooth throw there by Gerner, a little cheeky lefty backhand. I like that look.
Yeah, there's a lot to enjoy about watching Gerner play. She's very, very rapid, and her throws are complete, and putting herself on the line there, going to ground, outstretched arm, strong player, and I think they're going to need to use the strength in this German team. Frosch going again, but this time it goes back to Thyssen. Thyssen with no real options into the end zone. She's going to have to look. Now she shoots a second time. Frosch making herself available once more, catching, getting free of the 24 shirt of Karina Boyle. And that is a goal for Germany, 1 each.
Yeah, that was Vera Frosch there. Just been outstanding so far for Germany at this tournament. She is so fast. Germans look like to be in trouble there. She just burned her woman to the open side. She should be doing that all day.
Seemed to be a lack of cuts from the German team, apart from Frosch. She was the only person that seemed to be able to get free. The rest of them fairly static, being contained nicely by the Australians. This is setting up itself to be quite a game in the women's division here. It's one big pool in the women's division, Pool J.
The magical Pool J. It's wonderful that all the women's teams get to play each other. I know I've come to big international tournaments. I usually miss out on 1 or 2 teams that I would love to go up against, but going into it knowing you get to play everyone is nice to know.
Yeah, it's a fairly straightforward format. Every team plays 8 games against. Well, there's nine teams in the women's division, so every team plays everyone else, and then they have semis and finals. So good value for money for the women. They're getting a lot of ultimate this week. And we see the 15 shirt of Bath. Strong central handler on this Germany D-line. Pressure arriving straight away. trying to intercept that disc. Aussies have got it, and it's a disc to the ground. The 71 shirt of Eunice Chung getting blocked by 22 Lisa Nangle. And Lisa Bath trying to cut and get herself free, but she's not able to get free this time. Parshed with the disc now. Finds Nagel. And out to Spanuth. Spanuth continues the cut. Oh, fantastic work. Spanuth and Nagel combining nicely there. The 1-2 into the end zone. Straightforward from the textbook, that. Handler pass, handler cut. Everyone else static, making that space for Spanuth to run into. Germans well organised, and they've scored 2 straight there to take it out to 2-1.
Yeah, Lisa Nagel there with some bookends. Great force to mark getting that hand block. We now see that the Austrian Open men's team have come to the grandstand. They'll be playing Great Britain Open in an extreme game. I'm sure they're here to cheer on their neighbours in Europe, the German women's team.
It's a friendly neighbour relationship, unlike the New Zealand and Aussies, who have a bit more of a jovial rivalry. But we've seen a few players starting to arrive on site now. This is first game in the morning, and it has been quite wet, so nobody arriving on the pitches before they need to. But the rain has abated now, and the players that are arriving are wiping their wet seats down and trying to get comfortable to watch what promises to be a very exciting match. Watching Sky Magazine's coverage of Under-23 World Championships. Here from London is the Australians in the women's division taking on Germany with 64 on the shirt. Smith jacks it. It's going to go deep. It's going to be number 7 down. Egan Griffiths chasing it just on the edge of the end zone. Egan Griffiths passes off. Was she in? Was she not in? It's not in. It's 21 shirt of Zalums. And the game advisor being asked for an opinion. They're going to be asked to talk to each other first. She felt she was in. And it's a goal. Great spirit, and good to see the game advisors being asked to get involved. And the first thing the game advisor did was say, no, you two talk to each other, please.
Yeah, we're seeing that a lot on this showcase field. As soon as they're called, a lot of people are turning heads to look at the game advisor, when really the players should try and work it out themselves first. And always the game advisor doing a little signal to tell the girls to chat it out there. You're able to figure this one out yourselves.
And the next game we're going to have Kat Tobajovic going to be joining us up in the stands to give us the game advisor perspective. So sort of a third commentator for this next game. She's out on the pitch as a game advisor in this game. We'll just see her running behind the Aussie team there. And she's said she'd kind of come up and give us the view of the game advisor. And so during point breaks and timeouts, she can talk us through what the game advisors are looking for, what their hand signals mean, and give us their perspective. It's a new addition to the game of Ultimate, and been fairly well received. Caused occasional confusion, but I think the confusion's been a small side effect of what's otherwise been an extremely positive change to the game. And again, the Australians straight down there in this big 4-man cup, a force, and a three-woman cup. And the 6th shirt of Mondell trying to find an option to Gurner. Gurner right on the edge of the pitch. Australians calling that in. Gurner really struggling, hasn't spread it enough. The Germans haven't spreaded the pitch enough. And discs, poor choices from Thyssen leads to a turnover. Aussies have got it back. It's 2 apiece at the moment. Aussies looking to extend that and get ahead of it in this game. They've only started with the first point, but haven't been ahead since. 13 is Neal. To Dignam, back to Neal. Looking at options, he's got a crossfield pass to the fast-cutting 26 shirt. But instead, finds number 9, Isla. Into the end zone for a score. Australia put it in, number 8. Jodie Palmer getting free of her mark. Cutting deep. Fantastic work from Australia.
Exceptional stuff there from the Australians. We see the Australian Open team now have come to cheer on the women. They just waltzed over to the grandstand there a few minutes ago. These guys have been pretty loud in the tournament village where we're staying near the university. Lots of flags up all around their rooms, and they're a very passionate nation.
Oh, you could say the same about an awful lot of the teams out here. The Irish camp making a lot of noise, even the Netherlands making themselves heard. And who could forget Colombia? The Colombians, every time they move into an area of the tournament, they sort of bring the place to life with chanting. And have you got one of the cheers for us, Liam?
I'm afraid I won't be singing today, Tom. We'll save that for the final day, by finale performance.
Yeah, the Colombians... it was quite a nice atmosphere in the catering tent last night, just after our meals were over, sitting there, and suddenly the Colombians broke into song, and before you knew it, the whole catering tent was joining with this song. I'm not sure we all understood the words, but we all enjoyed it an awful lot. The 3 shirt of Baraton sending that big pull down to Germany. Görner, instrumental so far, but the Aussie Cup again. 1 mark, 3 ladies in the cup, trying to compress the space and force it out to a sideline. This sideline on the far side of the pitch from where you're looking at it. Görner available as a dump. She's going to have to go over the top if she's going to use it, though. Quick, nice work from down that line. Disc over the top, Spanuth. So it wasn't Spanuth. 20 shirt of Konzelman. Thyssen. Tyssen's got no options down the pitch. It was Foch available a minute ago. Thyssen now jacking it almost to the end zone. And there it's Foch again, making herself available. The assist from the 19 shirt of Bruckhart. And Germany just finding the gaps in this Australian Cup. Very effective in compressing the space. But if the Germans find the key and unlock this cage, it could be some lots of scores for them.
Yeah, like a hot knife through butter there with that zone. It's the first time we've seen the Germans really attack it and use those little give-goes. And I'd be surprised to see the Australians bring it out again now. It worked once or twice, but I think the German ladies have talked about what they're going to do and how they're going to attack it. And I think it'd be best for Australians now to switch it up.
It's always the way with the zone, isn't it? It can be so effective for a while, but as soon as people figure out where the spaces are, what the key throws are to get around that space. I think the key thing to note with the Australian zone is just how little of the space on the field the Australian players take up. At least the first 6 of them are all very, very close to the disc. If you get it around those 6 players, which admittedly is quite difficult, but if you manage to do that, then the rest of the pitch has only got 1 Aussie in it.
Yeah, they're usually leaving Rebecca Brereton back there, quite a tall girl. They're happy for her to take care of the house.
Aussies with the disc again, number 12, Prentice. And a block from the outstretched hand, 31. There's Inga Spanuth, one of the 2 Spanuth sisters on this team. Lisa Barth comes to pick up again. Looking for options, Posh cutting around behind her. Finds 59, Jonas, and a pick call on the play. We'll see the gun show signal from all the players on the sideline joining in with that one. I think it's quite a favourite with the sideline. And a lot of players arriving now in the stands to watch this game. And the disc goes up, it's going to be high, it's going to be underneath that, it's going to be Braukmann. Oh, just touches off the top of her hands. Helen Gross-Braukmann. And not able to control the disc, and an opportunity to score goes begging for Germany. Aussies have it again.
Yeah, it's unlike Braukmann. She was so solid yesterday, coming down and everything.
Big disc goes up. Aussies chasing it. High grab from Zalums. She's got no options downfield, but an outstretched 92 shirt, and it goes right across the pitch. Lots of space and time to collect this one. Is she going to be in the zone? No, just outside the zone. And dishes it beautifully, and just in time. The 21 shirt of Ali Zalums making herself available on the other side of the pitch for the to advance the disc nicely, and then cutting all the way around the back of the end zone for that quick dish at the end.
Yeah, Amanda Fong there with a beautiful big buttery biscuit across the side of the field, just opening it up for that score.
Yeah, exposing the German defense with that huge break, making all the space. You're listening to Tom Stiles and Liam Grant for Sky Magazine's coverage of the WFDF World Under-23 Ultimate Championships here from the University College London Sports Ground in St Albans on the edge of London. It's a relatively mild but still morning. No sun, and it has been incredibly wet for the last sort of half an hour before this game started. It was tipping it down with rain. All the players got completely soaked, and the pitch is very, very damp. So we've not seen too much skidding around out there so far, Liam. No one losing their footing too much.
No, the women doing well in this moist, muggy weather.
13, Jesper with the big pull. It's going to hang in the sky. Sorry, the 13 shirt for is Neil. And then Gerner sending it straight away down the pitch. Going to be pressure from Aussies.
And that was Neil there with the huge D. They threw it right back to her there.
Gerner and Neil exchanging big passes. I'll try and keep my microphone up in case we are having audio issues. Palmer. Exchanging, nice cut from Palmer. She's got a nice shot available into the end zone. Is it going to make it to the end zone? It might not, but position. Oh, and Neil with the slipping out of the fingers. And a canny bit of boxing out from the Australians as they're running up towards that zone, just trying to take away the space as they were approaching the disc. And you see this four-lady cup setting up again. Gerner over the top. Thyssen spreading the play nicely to Burkhardt. Burkhardt jab through the middle. And the Germans, Konzelman with the disc now. And Aussies come across and try to break down that space, but Thyssen. And Thyssen's disc was in front of Gerner and short of the German player on the other side of the pitch. Goes to ground, and the Aussies have got it again. This is a first opportunity they've had to take a 2-point lead. Shy of the end zone, but outstretched hands from the three shirt. Grabs into the end zone. And a few questions, no questions at all about that one. The 23 for Australia, Annie Jessup with the score, and Rebecca Berreton with the layout just shy of the end zone and the assist, and a timeout called.
Yeah, quite a graceful high release backhand there from Rebecca. She's quite a tall girl, so if she's throwing it high, you're not going to get that block. Yeah, some interesting facts about the Australian team. 3 of the women here, Amanda Fung, Georgia Egan-Griffiths, and Alex Prentice, were part of the ellipsis mixed team that went to the US Open last weekend, and they actually won to the surprise of a lot of the Americans, maybe not to the Australians. That was a huge victory for Australian Ultimate, and really showing that they're a strong Ultimate force.
No foreign teams ever go to America and win, so that's seeing that happen is a real turn up in World Ultimate. That's never, to my knowledge, that's never happened before.
Yeah, often GB or a German team, inside raquette there, usually go and maybe have 1 or 2 upsets, but generally end up in the bottom bracket, just not able to be consistent over the weekend. Yeah, but Lipsis go there and just wrecked the place. Beat Dragon Thrust, I think 15-10, and beat Seattle Mixed in the final comfortably. No one even got close to them, I think. It was just a fantastic performance by the Ellipsis Mixed team.
It's great to see the world stage in Ultimate starting to even up a little bit. So much strength in the North American game for so long, and Southeast Asian Ultimate or Japanese Ultimate actually has been a strength for a while, and some of the European powerhouses of Sweden and Great Britain knocking on the door, but never really challenging the consistency and strength in depth that the US and Canada have offered. So Australia stepping up to that mark and taking the mixed title at US Open. An impressive result, and one to take note of for all Ultimate aficionados.
And I heard they were actually the fan favorite during that final. It was actually the 4th of July, and all Americans there the Seattle mixed team trying to get a USA chant going, but it was all Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. I think the Americans just really appreciated the different culture and the Australian team coming all the way out there to really bring a great performance, and they got behind the underdog and yeah, cheered them to victory.
And that's not a cheap journey to make to Australia, to all the way across to USA. So congratulations to the ellipsis side on that. And these players then making another journey to a different part of the world, also far from home, over here in London. Admirable the efforts and the time and money that they put into the sport and developing themselves as young players. We've seen a lot of very, very talented players cut their teeth international level here at the under-23s in the past, and it continues to be the case.
Offside call there by the Germans.
Okay, so game advisors crossing their hands above their head to signal that the Aussies were offside. That disc went up. The only penalty this time is a re-pull, but if it does happen again, then the Germans will get the disc at the halfway mark. So the Aussies will be very careful for the rest of this game about making sure they all stay on side for the pull. Neil with the second time around, keeping herself and the rest of the team safely inside the end zone. Gerner, Thyssen, these two seeing an awful lot of the disc today because of this Australian Cup. Gerner making herself available. Space over the top. Mondale finding Burkhardt. Back to Mondale again. Gerner, Thyssen available on the far side, but that's Aussie Cup just closing in, forcing the Mondale and Gerner exchange. Hammer, Thyssen moving the disc quite sweetly, not panicking here. And Forsch with the disc again. Thyssen, Gerner going around. That's a nice, Thyssen going around to Gerner. Nice disc from Thyssen. Mondale back to Gerner, not making very much progress here, and she spreads that disc right across the pitch to Thyssen. The handling line not panicked in the face of this Australian Cup. Forsch not spreading it too deep, either outstretched from Thyssen. And that poor choice this time, tries to roll it across the top of the Australian Cup. It's not worked out. Aussies have got the disc there, 10 yards short of the end zone. Quick exchanges, space in the end zone, surely. No, she just cans it, swings it. They're going to make sure of this one. Neil with the disc now for in the 13 shirt. Spreads it beautifully. Oh, it's too far. Neil spending a little bit too long in the gym, or maybe a head rush as she saw Mondale trying to close that space and sends the disc too far wide.
Yeah, the Germans need to be a little more aggressive with their offense. They're throwing hammers back and forth across the field, but not really getting any yard advantage for their throws. There's the opportunity for those cross-field gains as well on the hammers. Maybe something for the Germans to look at.
It looked so comfortable on the disc for so long, and then they made what was really quite an elementary mistake, throwing that roll curve right into the opposition cup. Gerner crushing the space, no space for her at all. She does jack it deep, but to nobody in particular. It's floating high over the head. But the Germans don't come down with it. Aussies get the turn.
Yeah, Neil looks so strong there as the deep in that Aussie zone. Anything goes in the air, I think she's just going to take it down.
Solid looking player, athletic as well. And we see her with the disc now. Fast cuts from the number 8 shirt of Jodie Palmer, but she's looked off, very closely marked by the Germans. 53 is Dignam, exchanging discs down pitch with Isla and Neil. And back to Palmer. Palmer into the end zone. It's going to be high over the head of the outstretched Aya. Not able to bring that down. The German defense is really putting an awful lot of pressure on these Aussie ladies. They're sprinting hard every single cut, but a number of passes there got looked off just because the German defender was just a little bit too close.
Yeah, really athletic team, the Germans. I don't know what kind of fitness and preparation they're doing, but every girl out there just looks terrifyingly fast.
And Neil having to make up some ground here. Gerner might just about to jack it, but she doesn't. There was options deep. Gerner with the disc again. Hammer, Thyssen. Can Thyssen make some yards? We've seen comments from Liam already that they're not making enough crossfield passes, and Neil sweeping it up that deep position, making it her own. Any discs that are going to go up, you're going to have to make them clear of Neil, otherwise she is going to bring it down. Aussie Cup, they are persisting with this cup, and it is working for them, Liam.
Yeah, I'm surprised the Germans haven't figured this out yet.
Another floaty disc, but that manages to come down safely in the hands of Gibbs. Gibbs to Palmer. Palmer to Neil. Neil swings it back into the middle of the pitch. Palmer with it. Running free of the end zone. 26 shirt of Gibbs again. Palmer once more. Anchoring this play in the middle of the pitch outside the end zone. Gibbs again, exchanging disc with Palmer. That's a great cut from Palmer into the end zone. Australia score, and all the play going through Jodie Palmer there. Really great work anchoring that handling line just outside the end zone, showing a lot of patience and making that great handler cut. Superb work, Australia.
Yeah, Sarah Perkins with the goal there for the Aussies. Germans really struggling with that zone. I don't think they're quite creating enough space for themselves. We saw in the India mix, the Ireland mix game yesterday, India sending 2 people deep, stretching out the whole field, and is able to find those gaps in the middle. I think that's what the Germans need to do here. Maybe they've been trained too hard, just kind of dump and swing and take the safe option, but with that 4-man cup, you're going to have to make an aggressive throw at one stage or another.
Yes, they're looking at the 100% passes, which is very much the German approach to ultimate. They generally turn over very little, and their approach to risk is sometimes to avoid it rather to really embrace it. But the Aussies are going to force them to take on those risky passes, and you've got to be impressed by the way Neil is playing as that deep player, really cutting any options that they had out. 6-2 is the score here. Aussies leading.
Yeah, Neil here with the pull, a force to be reckoned with on this field today.
Germans with it. Bath. Around the disc. Down the line. 21, Gross Brackman. Back to Posh. Gerner chasing this one. She's going to have to, well beyond her. Disc from Posh across the pitch was above her head. Doesn't manage to bring that down. Aussies have got the disc again to take a bigger advantage. Bath underneath this, gets the block, and a nice follow-up from Posh required after that D from Bath didn't take the disc out of play completely. Bath swinging it to Gerner. Gerner catching Brackman ahead of her if she needs. Brackman stopped her cut. It's not going to go across the top. It's going to go out the side of the pitch, and Aussies forcing another turn with their zone. 26 shirt of Emily Gibbs comes to collect this one for Australia. Cutting in the end zone fast is Hannah Monty. But it's played across to Jessup. Oh, hard bid from the Germans, but not able to get it. Neil. And a mistake from Neil, that dishing pass across the pitch to her 23 shirt, Annie Jessup, not able to be completed. Gerner with the disc. So much of the play going through the German number 17 here. Lisa Bath cutting around the back, and we saw Lisa with some strong throws yesterday, but they don't really have a deep option. They're terrified of throwing anything deep. Neil has been so effective in that, and a breakthrough to Helen Gross-Brackman is just too fast from Bath. Goes off the fingers, difficult one to catch.
Yeah, trying to thread the needle there from Lisa Barth. Thought actually a good throw, but maybe just a bit too hot for her receiver.
Aussies with the disc again. Jessup. And pressure from Gerner, gets the turn again. Lots of turns in this point. Monty guarding, leading that 4-woman cup. Gerner again. Oh, she looked at jacking it. She does jack it across the pitch. It's going to fly high. Neil's going to be underneath this. The pressure is going to tell, and it does tell. And a little bit of a conversation is going to happen here. Vera Foch, very... I'm not sure if she... There's a bit of a conversation going on here. Foch seemed to have position. Neil came across her, took the disc, probably took a little bit of Foch as well. She felt she was running straight towards it. Liam, what was your perspective?
Yeah, different one to call there. Looked like Neil maybe had a clean shot at getting that disc. It's just whether she might have went through Vera's hand, just as she was doing it. Tough one to call.
Mike, I'm sure, is showing you a replay of that bit of action. You can make your own decisions, but the disc on the pitch has gone back to Gurner. Again, we see this force taking away the dump. Very close three-woman wall. And Gurner takes a deep shot, and this time it's going to float. Is it going to float long enough? It certainly does float long enough for Inga Spanuth to bring that one in. And the Germans re-establishing themselves in this game. That was a big point with the Aussies up on the other end, about to take it to 7-3. Germans are reining it back in, and it remains at 6-4. That was a huge turning point in this game.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the two teams set up properly after that foul call. The disc went back, but a lot of players stayed where they were during the discussion. So it was just a free German girl going deep there. I think they probably should have set up from when the foul occurred.
So it's the defender's responsibility when they tap in to make sure everybody's in the right position. And obviously the Aussies not making sure that everybody was in the right position. Or maybe Spanuth was that free when the foul occurred.
Maybe.
Well, it wasn't a foul though, was it? It was a foul on the receiving, so the disc comes back to where the play was when the throw went up.
Yes.
Spanuth was probably not that free.
No, I don't think so at all. Sneaky one there by the Germans.
Lisa Barth sends that disc up, and see the 24 shirt. Oh, a different handling line for the Aussie, sorry, 64 shirt of Catherine Smith, exchanging discs. Outstretched arms of joiner Egan Griffiths, not able to rein that one in. And there's already waving of hands as a contested. Egan Griffiths signalling that she felt that was a pressure on her shoulder as she came through there. But they slap hands, and it's been uncontested. Yeah,
we're seeing a completely different handler line from the Aussies. This is probably maybe their D-line handlers getting a run out here. You see them setting up with their cutters very, very deep, trying to run a bit of a handler weave before engaging the downfield cutters.
Creating a lot of space. The Germans, in contrast, having to bring all their players quite short when they're attacking because of this Aussie zone. Maybe they'd be wise to spread their play a little bit more. Paige O with the disc, and she manages to find it all the way out to the 64 shirt of Catherine Smith, and a mistake from Smith. The disc goes to ground. Amanda Fong not able to keep that disc alive. And Bath with the disc again. Low disc. Unfortunately, Helen Gross-Batman isn't able to keep that up. Aussies advancing. Cuts, but none of them particularly free. A deep shot's gone, but that was to nobody in particular at all. Laura Klima bringing it down, and the Germans have it again on their own end zone line with Lisa Bath, and the Aussies have changed the defense. They've gone to a man defense. That might give Bath the space she needs. She sends it to Gross-Brackman, who's tall, rangy athlete, manages to get herself down and underneath that one. Spanuth cutting, switching the Aussie defense.
Looks like an injury call in the field here, way back on the throw, and Aussie seems to be huddled over and could be hurt here.
So was that Lisa Bath, as she released the disc, just taking the side of Georgie Egan Griffiths' face, and Egan Griffiths clearly in some discomfort down there on the ground. Myself and Liam are getting battered by the flags of the tournament here, up on the sideline. The wind blowing across the top of the stands very gently. So injury down on the pitch the German handler Lisa Barth in the 15 shirt as she released that disc, taking the face of the Aussie. Can you see which Aussie it was? Oh, it was Georgie Egan-Griffiths, wasn't it? The number 7 shirt.
Yeah, there seems to be discussing actually what happened as well and whether it'll be a foul call. Difficult one to discuss. Often it happens in ultimate with those big backhands that you clip the outside of your defender's head, and it's whether they were stationary or not, difficult to say. Most players in the marker are adjusting small but are moving a tiny bit. So
it wasn't. It was Madison O'Connor though. We only saw the 7 on the back of her shirt. It was actually 17, Madison O'Connor, who's taken that blow to her face. She seems to be clutching her jaw as she's crouched at the side of the pitch underneath the camera there.
Yeah, hopefully she's all right. I've seen a few broken jaws and bloody noses from hits like that, mostly coming from Seamus Murray, an Irish player who's done some damage through the years.
Yeah. No one wants to do it. It's always accidental, but it can be a very painful injury. A flailing arm throwing a big disc is moving at a heck of a speed.
Lisa Barth here discussing the call with the Aussie player. Wasn't really involved, so maybe a difficult discussion. I think they might even go ask O'Connors again what she felt happened. This call going on a bit too long here.
And the game advisors huddling up to just get their perspective about what ought to happen here. O'Connor's still in some discomfort. She's getting some medical attention or some sort of attention from the Aussie playing team down on the sideline. And Eunice Chung is the substitute for O'Connor's, who's taken the sub. And now the question is whether disc is going to finish up, because are Aussies calling a foul, or are they happy to leave the disc up the pitch with Gross Brackman, who took the disc cleanly. There was no question about the upfield play. It was just all on the handle.
Yeah, Brackman's still clutching onto that disc right now as well. She doesn't want to give it back. The game advisors really need to get this show on the road now.
Yeah, so the game advisor advising everybody that the disc needs to go back to Lisa Barth, and slightly disappointed Helen Gross-Brackman conceding that the long walk back is required.
Here the Australian coach instructing his players to maybe do a little switch here, because I'd say Brackman could be on again, and we know Lisa likes to send it.
See the Germans setting up with 3 handlers, 4 ladies in a stack deep, and a fair bit of space between the stack and the handlers as well.
Brackman seems to be unhappy with how the Aussies are setting up here. She felt she had a bit more room.
Lisa Barth with the disc, looking for Gross Brackman. Does find her this time. She's looking to send it, but doesn't. Keeps it in the holster. Parshed coming back for a cut, and a bit of pain on the ground there. 11 shirt of Paige O. She's going to take a sub. Is that just a jarred knee or something as she came in to stop? She was on the floor. Maybe a bit of cramp. That's another substitute for Australia. 26 is the replacement, Emily Gibbs. It's two of the 7 players have been swapped out in this point for Australia. Lisa Barth again. And this time she sends a disc like a laser down pitch. Beautifully read and beautifully caught by Foch, and sends it to Gross Brackman. There's going to be pressure underneath that, and enough pressure from the outstretched Georgie Egan-Griffiths, getting up, reading that disc, and Foch having made that great cut downfield to collect the first pass. The disc into the end zone should have been a little bit more direct, hung in the air long enough for the Australian defence to arrive. And Egan-Griffiths setting off at a pace. The disc is coming for her. She's not read it. She has read it now and caught it beautifully. Egan-Griffiths with the option. Dishes it nicely to another handler. Sends it again one more time. It's beautifully cut. Oh, what a disc there from the 64 shirt of Catherine Smith. arcing its way smoothly into the end zone. The disc was everything, and they extend their lead 7-4 with an opportunity missed at the other end. The Germans' heads drop a little.
Yeah, gorgeous play there by Georgia Egan-Griffiths. Getting that D on Braukmann, who has been unchallenged, I think, so far in this tournament, but she's met her match in Georgia. Yeah, Georgia, one of those players that was at the US Open, and obviously a top ultimate player if she already has a US Open title under her belt.
So you're listening to Tom Stiles and Liam Grant from the top of the stands here for Sky Magazine, watching the WFDF World Under-23 Ultimate Championships from London. It's a rather chill morning, light winds, and it has been incredibly wet just before this game. So all these teams were soaked to the skin as they were doing their warm-up drills. But it's stopped raining now. The stands are starting to fill. The atmosphere around this tournament, and particularly around this game, is hotting up as Aussies and Germany face to face. Thyssen for Germany. Deep cut coming from Jesper. Finds Frosch. Frosch having the options taken away. Sends a disc, a terrible disc from Frosch. I'm not sure who she was aiming at there, but right underneath the 26 shirt of Emily Gibbs. Makes that D way too easy for Gibbs. And they're panicking a little bit in the face of this Aussie defense, really taking away the options, and they've not figured out how to unlock it yet. Deep shot from Gibbs. Brereton into space. Oh, it's reared down, and it's beautifully run down by Mara Neal. And the pace of these two rangy Australian athletes, the three shirts of Rebecca Brereton and Mara Neal, both very distinctive, sort of tall, blonde hair, fantastic athletes, and Australian using their strength to take this one out.
Yeah, some peachy offense there by the Australian girls. Playing a little bit of tall ball. It's very athletic stuff, just putting the disc in the air and trusting the receivers to chase those ones down. We see Hannah Monty pretty much on the force the whole time in that four-man cup. An epic performance by her, putting the Hannahs under a lot of pressure.
Now, my recollection is the score is 8-4, but the scoreboard on the far side of the pitch still says 7-4. I don't know, Anthony, if you could maybe mention that to the scorekeepers. Liam's going to tune into our live stream and get the best coverage of the score. And what's happened here is Mike Palmer from Sky Magazine has come wandering out of his production tent away from the edit suite, and he's changing the score himself to make sure the Aussies have got the right number of points. That's right, what a loyal Australian he is. And Gerner to Thyssen, to the 19 shirt of Brookhart. Thyssen, Brookhart. Advancing that disc nicely to Jesper. Back to Brookhart. Brookhart's got to look over the top at Gerner. She's completely free. There it goes. Gerner having to go to her knees to get that one. Finds 6th shirt of Mondal. Back to Gerner. Over the top. Gerner centering this handing line for Germany as they make their way through the cup. They've had a little bit more presence about them, Germany, in this point. Right across the pitch. Beautiful hammer from Gerner. Spreads the play. Oh, makes all the space available, and Germany score that one like a hot knife through butter. That Gerner hammer opening up the pitch. And the two final passes into the end zone were as easy as pie with no Australian pressure at all. They bring the score back. It's 8-5.
Yeah, fantastic stuff there from Deutschland. I think that's going to be a big mental victory as well. Just so they know they can beat this cup. They know the throws, and they need to have those aggressive hammers to beat this. And they can do them, Tom.
The over the top is the only way to beat a cup like that. And they're leaving a lot of space behind that cup, but you've got to have the confidence and to throw those discs. So far, the Germans have preferred a pivot around the mark, and to swing the disc. And unfortunately, because of the way the Aussies are forcing them, that swing around the mark is losing them yards every time. So they might gain with the swing pass to the sideline, but when the dump comes back and the swing goes round again, they're in exactly the same position. They've not made any yards up the pitch. The first time there, we saw Ghana go over the top with an effective hammer into space, and so easy to expose the rest of the gaps on the pitch once you get out of this Australian zone. See if they can continue with that vein of form. And I know Aussies have got a whole bunch of other strengths in defence. They're not a one-trick pony by any stretch, but if they can neutralise the strength of this Aussie zone, this might be a much closer game. Disc coming down with Catherine Smith. Smith to Fung, back to Smith. Disc over the top into space. Aussies exposed. All the gaps on the field. They've got to rerun this one down. It's Georgie Griffiths taking a clattering for a trouble. 31 shirt of Inga Spanuth goes to ground after clattering off the athletic frame of Georgia Egan Griffiths, and the disc from the 3 shirt of Rebecca Baraton.
Griffiths again showing her pace. I think if it was anyone else, Spanuth would have gotten there first, but she's just looked so strong in the end zone.
And that's half, so it's a 9-5 for the half. So Liam is going to go into the stands and grab one of the Austrian team, if the Austrian team haven't wandered off already. And we're going to have a short commercial break in a minute for one of our awareness-raising charities, which is ERIC. Early recognition is critical. It's a charity trying to raise awareness of the importance of early recognition in cancer treatment and general good health for young people.
I'm Cassandra Paulo.
And I'm Jim Garanter.
And we founded ERIC.
ERIC is a nonprofit that teaches kids body awareness through Ultimate Frisbee.
We're going to teach your kids about sportsmanship, spirit of the game, conflict resolution. They're going to have a great time, an amazing message about cancer, that it's not something that's not a death sentence. It's not something you need to be scared of. It's something that you need to have a winning attitude towards, like an opponent on a field.
Go Team Eric!
Hi, this is Liam Grant here from Sky Magazine. We're doing a half-time of the Australia-Germany women's game, and I'm here with the captain of the Austria Open team who will be facing off against Great Britain in their next live stream game. So it's Thomas Mitra, of the captain of the Austrian Open team. How's the tournament been going for you so far?
Pretty good, actually. We had our first game against the Philippines, won that one pretty easily, and had the second one. We expected actually a tough game against Australia, but beat them quite handily as well, with a +5 or 6 difference. And found out they had already lost to Ireland, so we knew that yesterday the Ireland game would be the most intense one, and it turned out to be, but we took that one as well. And in the end, we made a little mistake by losing to Belgium, although I gotta say they played really well. But nevertheless, took the first place in the pool, and looking forward to power pools and playing against GB, Colombia, and the US now.
Yeah, great power pool there. What was your preparation like coming into this tournament?
Our preparation was next to nothing at all. We found out really, really late that we were actually allowed to attend the tournament. We had a little issue with the Austrian Federation, but we resolved that and had our first preparation weekend in May and the second one in June, but unfortunately couldn't attend any preparation tournaments afterwards. I think this, on the one side, this is a little bit of a handicap for us. On the other side, every game here at the U23 Worlds is another preparation game for us, another practice game for us, and we're finding better and better together, which makes this team really fun to play on. And, well, we're improving. We can see that on the field.
All right, thanks very much, Thomas. Good luck in your game against GB, and thanks very much for talking to me.
Now we're back to the action here for Sky Magazine. You're listening to Tom Stiles and Liam Grant as the Australia make a mistake there with the disc over the top, gets turned to the ground. 9-5 is the score at half. Aussies dominant, especially with their zone, but we see a man defense look from them at the start of this game, and having turned the disc themselves, the Germans give it back. The Australian 64 shirt of Catherine Smith comes to pick up. Looks the deep shot straight away. And disc goes to ground, a mistake from Alex Prentice. Another one of these tall blonde Australians. Helen Bross-Brackmann, Germany's very own tall blonde lady. Lisa Barth cutting into the channel, but with her back to the disc, doesn't get it, and it goes flying out of bounds from Gross-Brackmann. Game advisor bringing it back down the pitch. And placed on the sideline.
Yeah, disc advisor is doing very well in the tournament, being a little bit of a disc fetcher for when it goes out of bounds.
Fast discs from Australia as they start. Quickly advancing, and a pick is called in the middle of the stack. 64 shirts of Smith and Egan Griffiths combining nicely. Smith unable to reel that one in, and Gross-Brackmann's got it back for the Germans. And Germany not making the fast start that they needed to make there. Bit of a disorganisation in the way that they went forward, and they turn over on the edge of their end zone line. Opportunity for Australia to take a 10-5 lead here. That'll be a bit of a crushing blow at the start of this second half. And a pick called in the middle of the stack. Helen Gross-Brackmann signalling maybe a bit of a push there from Georgia Egan Griffiths. Seems to be the hand signal she was making. Darting around in the end zone. Georgia Egan Griffiths has the long arms, and outstretched hand reaches low past Gross-Brackmann, and that tidy, sharp disc from Australia. They take the score out to 10-5.
Yeah, we see the Aussies doing a little ISO in the end zone there, putting three cutters spread out the back of the end zone, and allowing Georgia Egan Griffith a bit of space just to bounce around at the front. I would like to see maybe the Germans poaching off those players in the back and helping out Brackmann, because you need more than one person to mark Griffiths at this stage.
Here's a player that's growing in confidence as this game goes on. So seen her fairly quiet in the first sort of 5 or so points, but she's playing a bigger and bigger role. The number 7 shirt. Physically impressive team, this Australian line. They're strong, and a number of times we've seen players go shoulder to shoulder, and usually the German player that bounces off.
Neil with the pull.
Big disc from Neil. Floats high, drifts. It's going to curve back towards the centre of the pitch. It's a beautiful pull from Neil. Gerner, centre of the pitch. Thyssen behind her if she needs. Thyssen coming forward now. Gets the dish nicely. Out to the 37 shirt of Rule. Floater, that's not the disc you want to be using to go back across the pitch. Over the top is definitely the route you want to take, but Gerner has got the disc back. Rule not spreading herself out to this far side of the pitch. So the crossfield passes they are able to make aren't going to use the full space available, but they advance up the line now. Back to Gerner. That's a bit of a tricky one for her to reel in. The zone destroying play from the Germans is not textbook stuff. Across the pitch to Gerner is the shot here, but we're going to go back to Thyssen, and that makes it hard. Gerner is still available back over there. She needs to go over the head. She needs to have done it 3 or 4 seconds ago. Instead, she goes forward. Forsch has got an option over the top, but again, they're not using an overhead. They're using a floaty disc, which hangs around in the air, giving those Australians opportunities to get the turn. Go back again. We're not making any forward yards, the Germans. The Australian defence is containing the German, but now they're making progress. Rule to Konzelman. Thyssen, the Australian Cup starting to tire. We see encouraging shouts of keep going from Dignam. Forsch, opportunity to score here for the Germans. Surely the zone tiring for Australia. They've worked this one well. Garner. The 19 shirt of Brookhart to Garner. Steady stuff from the Germans. Garner again, a lot of passes have come here. Thyssen, the zone starting to slow. Shot into the end zone, perfectly into the corner at the front of the end zone from Thyssen to the Konzelman in the 20 shirt. Not the sort of textbook approach to attacking this zone. The slow, steady German way is the one they've applied there. But in this case, it's been effective, and the ladies in that Australian Cup were looking exhausted by the end of that point.
Yeah, Hannah Monty chasing that disc around like it was a golden snitch, but not quite the Gryffindor performance. You wanted a little too much Hufflepuff, if you ask me.
I didn't realise we were having a Harry Potter reference day. I didn't realise it was that. It was Game of Thrones yesterday, wasn't it? And today, Harry Potter.
We should be Breaking Bad tomorrow, Tom, I think.
I've not watched enough Breaking Bad to know my references, Liam. I want to get on tune with that. The Germans are trailing Australia 6-10. The story of this game has really been that Aussie zone on defence been so effective, and the Germans' approach to attacking it has been very staid and steady, and not going for the big shots over the top. And when it works like it did just then, it takes them 30 or 40 passes to get into the end zone, which is giving the Aussies plenty of opportunity to get blocks or the Germans to make mistakes. Australia have got it once more. Middle of the pitch, Catherine Smith finds Eunice Chung. Smith again with the big put. She's going to send it deep. It's going to be chased down hard. It's going to be German pressure under this. And a little bit of D from Ellen Reinhardt. Just the fingertips, the slightest of touches, took the disc away from Lauren Tink, who was running underneath that. And pressure paying. And the Germans have got a turn, which they so badly need. Germany with Partish, Bath, Helen Gross-Broutman looks down pitch, looks again, sends it. This time it's going to be pressure from the Australians that brings that disc into the sky, stays in the air, making sure of it the second time. Lauren Tink involved at both ends of the pitch. This battle with Ellen Reinhardt paying dividends. This time paying dividends for the Australians. They get the disc back.
A lot of dividends being paid around here.
Good day on the stock market. Catherine Smith exchanging discs nicely with Ali Zumles. Into the corner. Oh, just beyond the reaching and diving low. Alex Prentice not able to get her hands around that disc and keep it alive. Big put across the pitch. And the second half starting to get a little bit shaky. Now the wind is coming from behind us. We're standing on the stands opposite where the camera is, and the wind's coming from our back, so straight towards the camera, and it's swirling over the top of this grandstand, which always has a bit of an impact. Cuts and a pick is called. The whole team from both teams do the gun show. which is the signal that the game advisors are using. And the players have caught on to that very quickly and have started to adapt it into their own communication methods. Big put now from Germany. It's going to float. It's going to be hanging in the air for Felina Jonas, and she brings that down. Jonas dishes back to Brackman. What options has she got? There's cuts in the end zone. There's cuts underneath. There's no cuts where she needs them. No spread of the play there. No continuation across the field. It's going to be jumped into Lisa Barth. Lisa Barth is looking for an option into the end zone. Again, the cuts from Germany are looking tired, and Helen Bross-Brackman makes that beautiful, aggressive cut towards the front cone, turns, loses her marker, and makes herself available down the line. Barth finds her. And Germany relying on their big players and some very quiet offense from the rest of the team.
Yeah, Brackman with the score there. She got a point off where Griffiths wasn't on her back, so they capitalized and used her pace. But that's been the real battle on the field today, that matchup there. I'm sure Griffiths will be back on now to shut down Brackman.
It seems to be the depth in the Australian squad is really strong all the way through, and the Germans relying on a few key players. Lisa Barth and Helen Gross-Brackman, Anna Gerner. Thyssen has been key in trying to work it around their zone. But the rest of the German attackers in that position isolated and contained by the Australian defenders. Play continues out here in London. 10-7 is the score. Australia leading Germany. Germany by no means letting their heads drop here in this game. Disc from Lisa Barth, hops and skips over the grass, and it's collected to Smith in the middle of the pitch, pretty much on the brick mark. Fast cutting from Alex Prentice, and a call on the play. A pick has been called. That combination of Georgia Egan-Griffiths and Alex Prentice, two tall blonde Australian ladies, combined with Mara Neal. The three of them all sporting very similar haircuts, similar stature, and their athleticism paying in equal measure. Prentice with the disc. Marked by Annika Ott, 16 shirt for Germany. Hands low, trying to prevent that disc, but it doesn't. It makes it to Catherine Smith. Catherine Smith has got time and space to swing it across the pitch. It's up in the air. Big reach from Prentice, but not able to. Oh, sorry, Georgia Egan-Griffiths there, not able to bring that one down.
A huge travel on the throw there by Catherine Smith. Literally lifting her leg up like a flamingo there as she sent that backhand.
And those two have marked each other again. Georgia Egan-Griffiths and Helen Gross-Brackman. Helen Gross-Brackman currently available as the dump. She's going to go to her in a minute because Lisa Barth has got no options and eventually finds the fast-running Inga Narjaraz. Lisa Barth. Lisa Ningal. Nagel. Back to Barth. Barth sends it. It's going to be floating. It's going to come back in towards the edge of the pitch. No, it's well out towards us here in the stands. Not going back into the pitch at all. Difficult to read those discs when they're up in the air towards us. Hard to see whether they're going to go back into the pitch or not. That one well short of it, and the game advisors are now indicating whereabouts on the pitch the disc ought to be brought back in. It's another decision that the players can rely on them for. Smith darting forward after that forward pass. Floated into the end zone. It's going to be brought down, diving, stretching, reaching. But the 21 shirt of Ali Zalums not able to grab it. Beyond two Australian players, a little bit hasty with that final shot into the end zone. Germans given one more chance. This has not been the strongest bit of German attack we've seen all day. A couple of key players missing. And fast running from Spanuth up pitch, but she's not going to get the shot. And a disc across the pitch to Gross Brautmann. Spanuth available now. Has to go to ground, and the disc is behind her, and she falls over, and it's a turnover. Mistakes from the Germans coming thick and fast now under this relentless Australian pressure. Australia. Oh, a mistake of their own, and Spanuth clears that up, catches it high to Lisa Barth. She's going to send this one deep, as she always does. Helen Gross Brautmann beating Catherine Smith underneath it as well, and pressure. So it's Catherine Smith, and it wasn't Helen Gross Brautmann, it was the 31 shirt of Inga Spanuth chasing that down for Germany. But Catherine Smith getting her hands to it.
Chatting to Spanuth earlier, she said she has a few more stats than her sister, and she was trying to clock up one there. A little battle of the siblings.
Good to see that sibling rivalry paying dividends. The Australians being competitive with each other as well as with their opposition. 92 Amanda Fung to Smith. Smith has got Neil available. Egan Griffiths. Forward to Zalums. Moving the disc fluidly, this Australian ladies. Flowing ultimate, flowing hair. Smith into the zone, into space, into way too much space. Ali Zalums not able to get anywhere near that disc. And a little bit of head rush there as the Australians advanced, looking so smooth mid-pitch, but again that final shot is disappointing. Just need to calm down a little bit.
Yeah, Amanda Fung was so free in the end zone there for about 2-3 seconds. She's been having a stormer. She's pinning up that static disc the whole time and getting the Aussie offensive flowing.
Barth again. Gross Brautmann goes down. Manages to keep the disc alive for Germany. Looking for options. Looking for all sorts of options. Any options. And pressure from Neil takes the disc away. Another diving German player, and a foul on the throw from Gross Brautmann. Georgia Egan Griffiths dropping the disc to the floor. No, it's a turnover. Oh, it's a stall out. Different hand signals. So tap on the head is a stall out, is it? Smith. Shot to the zone. Oh, they make it look so easy. Neil making herself available. A quick short step away from Inga Narges. Just wrong foots her, drops the shoulder, steps away, scores. Makes it look easy. Australia 11-7.
A bit frustrating to watch there with the Germans. The Aussies setting up that ISO again, and the three girls in the back just standing still, and the German defenders staring at them. You know, if they're running at ISO, I think you gotta throw someone in the lane and shake it up and make them do something they don't want to do, because if they're putting their best mismatch in that lane, they're going to get free and they're going to score.
You know that the Aussies have drilled for that change of defence, though, don't you? You know, as soon as you try and sandwich those back three and leave yourself with an extra defender in there, they're going to adapt, and suddenly those back three are going to look a lot less passive and a lot more active. But they've got to try it, and I think you're absolutely right, Liam. The Germans being a little bit naive with the way. So many times we've seen Australia, when they get within 5-10 yards of the edge of the end zone, they just one-on-one with the defender, and they've got the athleticism and they've got the throws to make that point count every single time. Germany need to adapt. And they see Gerner back on the pitch now. Across to Tipton. Forsch looking to send it back to Thyssen. Burkhardt. Jasper trying to find a place around to Burkhardt. Across the pitch to Thyssen. Gerner a little bit further up the pitch, giving herself a nod as a handler this time. It goes a deep shot, but she's not cutting yet. Now she might make a cut. Poor disc from Germany in the end. It's cut out easily by a jumping Sarah Perkins. We've not seen very much of Perkins in this game, but she was covering her deep duties very well there.
Wow, we see Jodie Palmer standing up at the front of the stack there. Relative of our sound and video production manager, Mike Palmer. Jodie doing very well to earn her cousin some more gelato.
Big disc goes up. It's out of the side of the pitch. Jumping out, jumping in. Just inside the pitch, dragging a toe nicely for Australia. Up the line now, making good yards. Palmer cutting. But now it's a great shot across the disc to Aya. Sam Aya with the disc in the hand, the number 9 shirt at the moment. But that shot down the line from Rebecca Baraton was the where all the yardage was made, and now the game advisor has been brought in. Thyssen questioning whether the feet were in or out on that pass up the line.
I don't think they were, Tom. I think she tried to toe the line, but actually gained possession as she put her other foot down now. I'm sure Mike is showing you the replay there, and you can clarify for us at home.
So that's the 99 shirt of Hannah Monty there. And it's been conceded. So that must have been the conclusion that the game advisors were reaching as well. So the disc is going back to where it left the pitch.
It was the Irish team yesterday making breakfast, serving up some bagels for Philippines, but Ireland mixed, now the ones getting served up by the US mixed team, losing 17-0 there. Ireland like bagels and they like giving them out too, as it looks. I heard a huge greatest by Simon Higgins to Khalif El Salam just at the end of that game. Good to see the USA mixed team finally trucking teams and playing the way I expected them to.
We expect a lot of all of our North American teams here at Worlds. And the Germany-Australian women have sorted their differences out, and disc goes up. Gurner's going to be underneath it, but not before the big outstretched arms of Rebecca Baraton. Another one of these rangy Australian athletes. They really have got a physically impressive team, the Australian women. Baraton making the cut, reaching behind her to grab that one. Grab it she does to Palmer. Back to Baraton. Nice combinations. Palmer making the continuation cut up the line. She's got options deep. Pressure from Mondale, tries to stop that deep shot, but it doesn't stop. Monty's underneath this. Tyssen's underneath it. Oh, Monty grabbing beautifully ahead of Thyssen. What a grab from Australia. Impressive stuff. And the disc from Baraton right across the pitch was there, really opened up the play.
Yeah, 10 points for Hufflepuff there. Monty doing really well to get her shoulder in front of her defender and just kind of box her out.
The work rate from Australia when they get their flow going is hard to live with, and these German ladies, despite their athleticism that we saw yesterday against New Zealand, just unable to contain the fast running and physical game that Australia are bringing. You're listening to Tom Stiles and Liam Grant from the top of the stands here for Sky Magazine. We're watching the WFDF World Under-23 Ultimate Championships from London, the University College London Sports Ground here in St Albans, just on the edge of the capital. The morning has been slightly chilly with a gentle breeze, and it's been extremely wet this morning. It's not wet now, the rain has ceased, but all of these players got a complete soaking in the last 10 minutes before the game started, and then just as we came up to the top of the stands, we were able to down the umbrellas and enjoy a relatively peaceful game.
For those of you out there wanting to get in touch with us, you can hit up @Sky Magazine on Twitter or use the hashtag WU23UC.
World Under-23 Ultimate Championships. Just flips off the tongue still, doesn't it? After 3 days of saying that hashtag WU23UC, still doesn't sound as flowing as it ought. So Liam, you've seen quite a few games here this weekend and this week. Highlights so far of the tournament play we've seen?
Speaking about all divisions on all fields, I think the German Open team has really impressed me. I'm really excited to see those guys play in this showcase field, which I'm sure they will. The handlers of Mo Brucklauker, Butenmüller and Nico Müller have looked scary good, and they can't wait to get a stab at the big boys. I think they play Canada tomorrow morning, and that's going to be an absolute thriller. So really exciting team to watch there. I think these Aussies in the women's division, I know they lost to Japan yesterday, but later on in the game they started to figure out how to beat that Japanese team, and I think they can take down anyone in this women's division.
Did enjoy watching the Japanese women's game play, and I also enjoyed watching India mixed yesterday. A real party atmosphere down here. Lots of the neutrals cheering for the brightly coloured Indian mixed squad. And they had a very close game with Ireland mixed, who also bring their own festival atmosphere.
Yeah, it was just a really fun game. Two teams are just delighted to be here. A lot of young players who may not have had experience at a tournament like this, and it's just been mind-blowing for them, and they're sharing the love all around this this tournament.
It's fair to say a lot of the Indian players have never had an experience like this. A lot of them never left India before, so an opportunity to travel and experience new cultures and new experiences. Gerner with the disc now. We're back in the game. Germany with facing a slightly different setup from the Australians. Oh, it's not different, it's just in the middle of the pitch. Thyssen bringing it across to Burkhardt, back to Thyssen, back to Gerner. Oh no, she's going to flow it right across the pitch. That's better from Germany. Mondell to Frosch. Foch advancing to Konzelman. Konzelman's got Thyssen back across. And Gerner being marked out almost completely by the 23 shirt as she tried to cut across. But it's not a man, and it's a nice work from the Germans. When they do get their stuff flowing, it's excellent to see. 19 with the score. Patricia Burkhardt and the assist from Vera Foch, number 7. So you think we see Germany trying to find the answer to this Australian Cup? They get that point on the board?
Yeah, I wonder if it's just too little too late. I don't see this Australian offense slowing down, and it's going to be very hard for Germany to get the breaks back.
Well, both teams have made enough mistakes for the other team to capitalise, but over the last couple of points, the Aussies have looked fairly dominant in pretty much every aspect of this game. Start to see the crowds filling up in the stands, and some of them have gone off to play their games. We're expecting very nice weather for the last 4 days of this tournament. The rest of today is supposed to be very nice, and then Thursday, Friday and Saturday expecting sparkling weather. The British sunshine might return. At the moment, we've got a fairly overcast and slightly chilly day here in London. Catherine Smith fetching that disc for Australia, and she's going to brick it. The long, flowing golden locks spill down her back.
Definitely contention for best hair at the tournament.
Like a Timotei advert out there. Georgia Egan-Griffiths grabs the disc. Smith again. Aggressive play from Smith, making herself available at every opportunity. Egan-Griffiths again. The complete players, these two. The 2 shirt of Tink. Back to Smith. Across to Chung. Chung into the end zone, and an outstretched, low-reaching grab from the 17 shirt of Madison O'Connor. Recovered from the blow to the face she took earlier in this game to grab that one. And Smith and Egan-Griffiths running the play there and making it very difficult for the Germans, exactly as you described, Liam.
Yeah, a bit of a spicy IO flick there that wasn't quite IO enough, but O'Connor doing well to get down and grab that disc. Yeah, this Aussie offense just looks smooth and silky right now.
Yeah, the 2 different parts of Germany's puzzle. One, how do you get around the zone? And then 2, how do you close down the offense? Without both parts, they're not going to get back into this game. The Aussies lead this one 13-8 in the women's division one big pool for the women's division, 9 teams in it. And these two already played a few of the games. We've got a few more to go before the semis and finals over Friday and Saturday. Do they play one of the semis on Thursday evening as well? I think they might do. Depends how their schedule's going.
I think 2 open quarters on Thursday evening, and then semis are Friday.
So they'll be playing all their semi-finals on Friday. Until then, it's pool matches all the way. Knocking that disc to the floor. Ghana for Germany. Again, the zone comes. Thyssen to Rule. Thyssen continues her cut, but it's followed all the way. Space across the top. And Ghana has just been man-marked out of this game at the moment by the Australians. They've spotted her threat. It's number 6, Sarah Perkins, is just doing a man job. Just been one-to-one marked on Sarah, on Ghana. Anna Ghana has just been taken completely out of the game. And she's been such a key part of the German offense that once she's removed, they just don't seem to have the same pace. Australia with the disc getting that turnover. Disc is going up and it's gone down. Outstretched. And Gerner's got it. And as soon as you see Gerner is this is a very interesting approach from Australia. They're playing a zone for the other 6 players and then a one-to-one defense for Ghana. But it's clearly getting results. And you see Perkins with the disc. Finds Berreton. Berreton sends it deep. Going to be outstretched, reaching, but doesn't manage to stop. And Dignam brings the disc down for Australia. Berreton proving what an excellent player she is, making that great sidearm sliding disc into space. Dignam, no problem at all reeling that one in.
Yeah, delicious flick there, Tom. You see the Aussies changing up that zone and really cleverly kind of doing a bit of an assassin. It went from a 4-man cup to a 3-man cup, with then just the man mark being on Garner as they see her as the main threat of breaking it and really keeping her off the disc, and the rest team unable to fill in that role of throwing over that cup.
I don't know whether you take that as flattery or just get really frustrated with the fact that they've suddenly isolated you as a threat. And I don't know what Ghana's mindset must be when she realizes, hang on a minute, they're picking on me here. They've seen the fact that I am involved in most of the play, and now they've completely isolated me.
It's happened to me once or twice, Tom. I'm well known as a Zoe offensive, and I usually take the compliment. I usually thank the person as they run over to me, and then usually take them for a little jog and see if they can keep up with me.
No doubt Anna Gunnar will be in similar frame of mind with Sarah Perkins chasing her, but we'll see how they come down and set up in a similar way this time. It's a similar line. You see the 26 shirt of Emily Gibbs on Gurner. Is she going to stay with her? Yes, she is. She is going to stay with her. Again, we see this 3-person cup, and they're doing a one-to-one mark on Gurner to try and isolate her and keep her out of the play. It's working. But a turnover from Germany. Konzelmann gets to that disc, and Gurner tries with the first shot straight out the bag, but a block from Monty, or was it Aya? The Australians have got it back, dominating this game, and that switch from a very effective zone to a completely impenetrable zone has been a nail in the coffin for the German offense. They're struggling already. Monty making a good cut in the zone. Aya looks it off. Disc floating over the top. There's a hospital past that one. Oh, but somehow it manages to finish in the hands of Rebecca Berreton. A knock off the stack, and it's a foul. And the disc has gone back to Aya. Sam Aya with the disc in the number 9 shirt, marked by Garner. And a tap in. Looking for the options downfield. Just a disc into space. It's going to be chased by Berreton. It goes, well, it's not Berreton, it's Neal. Neal goes sliding across the ground to keep the disc alive, and she's on the edge of the end zone. Dish back to Palmer. Palmer into space. It's going to be picked up by Monty. Oh, Monty drops. It slips out of her hand.
I think Mike Palmer inside the video production booth was already celebrating that buttery backhand, but Monty just has a bit of butterfingers herself. And a huge grab in the back of the end zone.
Thyssen fetching that disc from Mondal, keeps it alive, but they're in a bit of trouble here, the Germans, back of their own end zone. Inability to escape, and the disc across to Konzelman is sweet, and Garner's available down pitch, but they're trying to keep their eye on her, and Gibbs straight away resumes the duty of keeping the German 17 shirt at bay. A one-on-one mark on her, and the rest of the Aussies in what looks like a fairly traditional 6-person zone, and an easy block for Berreton as the disc across from the Germans is dispatched to the floor. Palmer. Australia once more with it. Neal in the 13 shirt. Palmer cutting, but taken away by Vera Foch. Palmer keeps her cuts going. The two of these exchange discs, and we've seen this cut from Palmer before. Nicely straight up the line. Sam Ayer. Over the top, it's going to be Palmer. Going to have to do some work here to chase it down, but Thyssen saw it nice and early. She chases that, and a call back on the play.
Yeah, I think there might have been a pick just before that throw called by the German player, and I think Palmer might have stopped momentarily hearing it.
Sam Ayer with the disc. Neal darting around, and that disc break almost underneath the arms of the German player, but it goes across. Berreton. Oh, that's going to slip out the side of the pitch. A bit of pressure from the Germans. No foul call from Berreton. She's just happy to concede that was a poor disc from her. It goes out. The Germans with another opportunity to attack. So the zone from Australia shrinks to this 2-person zone, and that gives Emily Gibbs free rein to keep her eye on Anna Gerner. But the disc goes across the top. And a flailing, outstretched reach from a very frustrated Vera Foch, who's played so hard and run so much of this game, but the disc is going back again to the side of the pitch. Germans a little bit downhearted at the end of this game. They've fought really, really hard against the Aussie zone early on, and were containing the Australian offensive line relatively effectively, and that's a turnover. So it must have been a stall out in the corner there. Palmer, the number 8 shirt and the plaited ponytail for Australia. Looking for that again, this ISO from Australia, so effective. Berreton making herself available. Again, the Germans not adapting to that one-on-one in the end zone, and that's what they're doing every single time they get near or within 5 yards of the end zone. They're giving themselves that isolation. Germans not adapting. 15-8. Australia lead this one, looking to close it out pretty quickly as well.
Yeah, tasty little high release backhand there from Palmer. Germans not adapting to the Australian offense, and contradicting that, the Aussies are. They're adapting to how the Germans are playing, shutting down Garner, doing that assassin zone defense, and just putting the nail in the coffin right now.
It's been interesting to see how the Germans haven't really adapted to the two strong moves that the Australians have got. One so effective within 5 yards. We've seen 4 or 5 separate occasions they've isolated a player at the front of the end zone and just managed to get that quick pass in, using their stronger runners and cutters to just drop a shoulder and get free. But the Australians, they just don't seem to have an answer. With Gerner out of the question as a release from that zone, they don't seem to have an answer to this Australian zone at all.
No, Tom, they don't. And Anna Garner not really effectively shaking off her mark as she is getting assassinated there. She really needs to take her player deep, and then the other players try and work around it. If she goes deep, she'll have 2 girls marking her and let let the rest of the team play 6-on-5 downfield.
The space the team give you when they do come with a zone is always quite welcome for a handler. Opportunity to spend some time on the disc. Just remember, it was a nice challenge to have when the other team came to a zone. There was always some spaces there, but finding them sometimes the difficult part. Ghana doing such a great job of that for the first half of this game, to suddenly find herself completely marked out with some pretty strong Australian defenders assigned to her personally, has meant she just doesn't have a role to play in this German attack when the Australian zone arrive. We'll see if they come with that tactic again. And they might start experimenting with some of their own defence at this stage of the game, where they've got a big lead now. If they've got elements of their other tactics they want to work on, they might see some of those. But I'm fully expecting to see a sort of 6-man zone with Ghana marked out. Maybe Ghana should take a break and see if they adapt back to the 7-player zone that they were playing beforehand.
I know she's wearing a pink hairband. Maybe dish it out to another player there. Change up your look.
Just swap the hairband over. So go in disguise, incognito.
I knew the Buzz Bullets at Club Tournament America actually started changing jerseys throughout the tournament, as a lot of American players only identified them by numbers. They decided to do a bit of a switcheroo, and that would be in breach of the rules here, but clever play by the Buzz Bullets. I like their style on that one.
It's in the grey area between fair play and sportsmanship, isn't it? Ghana with the disc now. So while she's got the disc, it's a 4-person cup. She finds Thyssen, and immediately we see the 53 shirts of Dignam follow her around, step out of the cup, and if she gets the disc again, she will be followed back in, and she is. Thyssen with the disc now. Germany moving it nicely with the other players they have available. Parshed. Ghana, but the outstretched hand of the very personal defense offered by Dignam. Gets that block ahead of Ghana. And very, very effective. We're just removing that one key player from the German attack. They don't seem to have an answer. But a block. Nicely worked, nicely done from Vera Foch in the 7 shirts. Getting that Ghana now. Oh, they've gone to Australia have gone to a one-on-one defense. Fast running from Konzelman up the pitch. Thyssen with the disc now. Konzelman's stopped her cut, but the 13 shirt of Jespers continued. She's on the line. She's not going to take that deep shot on herself. She's looking to reset this to a handler. Back to Ghana. And Germans looking a little bit more comfortable playing against the man defense, which the Australians have brought this time. Thyssen with the disc. Swings it, and a mistake. No, it was a flailing arms. And a contested something.
I think it was a foul on Rebecca going up the line there. The Aussies just discussing it.
The play being discussed with the help of the game advisors. Actually, the foul was off the throw, was it? Between 100% sure, difficult to see what's going on over there. Ghana, disc forward to Vera Foch. Strong play from her all game today. Ghana going back for the dump and gets it. Thyssen now cutting fast, but she's been marked out by Neil. Takes that option away. Ghana goes across the top. Vera Foch. Oh, fantastic work from Foch and Ghana, connecting it together. As soon as the Australians step to their man defense, the Germans look like they have a chance. They can expose with some of their pace and athleticism some of the spaces on the pitch. They've scored a point here, but they still trail Australia 15-9.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if that's a point well earned by the Germans or just a bad move by the Australians switching to man there. I know that this came in quite quick, but when your zone's that effective, give it time to set up and just keep rolling with it.
I'm struggling with this switch to gender-neutral defensive structures. We tried to decide yesterday that we weren't going to refer to man defense, we're going to refer to one-to-one defense, but old habits are dying hard up here in the commentary box.
I'm the fan of saying person defense, I mean human defense.
Yeah. Well, the word man comes up in all sorts of different contexts when you're commentating. So someone might cut free and lose their man, or lose their woman, lose their defender.
Trip over a manhole, or a human hole, we should call it.
Yeah. I was thinking about purely in the ultimate commentary context, actually, Liam. If you want to go to street furniture as well, you can.
I'll let you know, I played a tournament in Vegas, and there's definitely manholes on that field.
Aussies setting up. Fung. Little dish from Prentice to Fung. Advancing nicely with Chung. Smith available behind, but being marked hard by Inga Spanuth. And a foul call. A pick. Gun shows all around. Helen Gross-Brackman picked. Oh no, it wasn't. It was Svenja Spanuth in the 47 shirt for Germany, calling that pick on Ali Zalom's. Tap in, Chung with the disc. Low hands. Nice forward pass to Prentice. Prentice looking for Smith and finds her. Chung available. Just these three handlers doing a bit of a weave. And more gun show, more picks further up the pitch. The straight up stack. And the disc is back in. Fung in the 92 shirt on the far side. And again, we see another stoppage of play. It's been a bit of a hesitant stop-start kind of point, this one. The game advisors involved to try and keep the flow going, but Fung is looking to the sideline for advice. I'm not quite sure what the conversation is between these players. The start of play was pretty quick there.
Amanda Fung on the disc has been so solid for the Aussie team. Usually not taking on the big throws herself, but picks up the disc, usually goes a little cheeky break to start and just gets that Aussie offense flowing. And yeah, she's been a real standout for this team.
It's hard to pick a single star out of the Aussie line, isn't it? Because they've got so many players. You could put together a top 5, but you'd probably struggle to put them in any order.
Yeah, a lot of role players there. They all know their jobs and they're executing it very well.
The disc is back in. Smith. A fast breaking start to Zaloms. Zaloms into the end zone. And O'Connor's brings that down. And again, another discussion. No, it's a point being given Lisa Barth, signaling to the rest of the team to not contest that too much. I think the German player nearest the line, everyone's now signaling the point, apart from the game advisors. And they've been called off the pitch. Discussion is taking place between the players on the pitch. The game advisor just clearing up what's going on there. It's nice to see them taking that impartial advisory role, not enforcing anything, but and a pick has been called. Which, the disc is going back. The drizzle has begun again. This pitch is already very slippery, but we've actually not seen too many loss of footings on this excellently prepared surface here at University College London Sports Ground. Ground staff out last night. Zaloms with another option to Smith. And looks that shot off into the end zone. Good German defense. And a mistake from Eunice Chung. Lisa Barth picks it quickly, looking for that deep shot and sends it, but she got an armful of Chung on the way through and a foul's been called. Catherine Smith, visibly quite tired. She approaches and sends that disc back to us.
With such grace and finesse, those golden locks flowing.
Yeah, the ponytail is clearly the look for the Australian team. They're all seem to be sporting one version or another of that in a lot of cases. Lisa Barth, big disc up to Helen Gross-Gratman underneath that one. Goes down uncomfortably, but she manages to keep it alive and available for her straight away. The 12 shirt of Klima. Klima not sure where to go. Lisa Barth trying to get free, but she doesn't manage to. Helen Gross-Bachmann comes back for another one. And Lisa Barth continues her cut, punches that one into the end zone. 15-10. They score. Gross-Bachmann making all the play there, Liam.
Yeah, she's been sensational for this German team so far this tournament. Only Griffiths really being able to compete with her. Glad to see the Germans make it to 10. They definitely deserve to be there.
Very, very impressive performance from this Australian line of ladies. They've adapted well, they've run hard, they've not panicked at any point, they've looked confident. The Germans bring an awful lot to this game, and they've contained them where necessary. They've isolated key players where necessary. They've outplayed them at most opportunities. Aussies in the ascendancy, they lead this one 15-10, and Mike Palmer is going to be getting a gelato at the end of this one from Liam Grant, having that one ice cream bet going on between our commentator and our video producer back in the tent.
Yeah, a lot of people say Spirit is the real winner of Ultimate, but here in London it's the ice cream man that's taking it home all bacon.
Within 2 points of a victory here, the Australians under pressure from Gross-Bachmann there. Georgia Egan-Griffiths dishes the disc to Smith, and again another pick call. Very mixed up centralized stack is causing picks to come left and right. I think Eunice Chung calling that one. Or Eunice Chung was had that one called on her. She cut through the middle of the stack. And Smith and Egan-Griffiths, the two tall Aussies handling. 64 on Catherine Smith's shirt. Egan-Griffiths with a 7 on her shorts and back. Going to ground, Eunice Chung keeping that disc alive, being marked by Reinhardt, and a poor disc from Chung. Was it good defense from Reinhardt? Forces that disc to ground. Parshed. Good exchange of discs with Helen Gross-Bachmann. Bachmann taking a much more central leadership role in this attacking line since Ghana's been so isolated so effectively. Moving the disc beautifully up the pitch to Ott. Annika Ott. Barth cutting left and right. Gross-Bachmann comes back to relieve her, resets the stall count. Barth continues her cut. Again, it's going to be pressure from Smith and a double grab from Smith and Barth. They both took that together. Barth convinced she had that first.
Yeah, I think it was actually Catherine Smith who got her fingers to it first. I think Lisa Barth deciding that, yeah, it's a turnover.
Great defense from Smith. The disc to Barth just a little bit floaty, a little bit hanging in the air too long. Smith, arrow-like disc down the line. Great break skills. Egan-Griffiths dishing it. O'Connor with the disc. Fung. Back to Egan-Griffiths. O'Connor down the line, available. Back across to Zalums. Fung. Oh, into so much space. These Aussies making it look easy. And shaking of hands, the time cap must have gone on while we've been talking. So the Australians have won this one 16-10. Strong performance by Australia. A disappointing performance by the Germans, just unable to adapt to the way the Australians were playing, unable to break out of the zone, unable to stop their flowing offense when it got moving.
Yeah, and these Stingrays just keep on swimming, and they'll have their tails held high going into the rest of this tournament.
Yeah, some of these ladies on, I think 3 of the team on the Australian women with US Open titles to their name following their success last week in the mixed division.
Yeah, I now see Saigi David Price meandering towards the grandstand, and he'll be taking over to commentate on the Great Britain Austria game. I'm sure he'll have lots of interesting facts and puns for you.
And we'll close this one out. Tom Stiles and Liam Grant been covering the Germany versus Australia game for you this morning for Sky Magazine. It's been great to have you with us. I do hope you enjoy the coverage, and share the link if you're watching this with anybody else that wants to watch it. Anyone that you want to show what the sport of ultimate's all about. Sky Magazine bringing you the great coverage from here in London. Until the next game, thanks for watching.